it's recording because it goes, whoop.
Yeah. So we'll
I
move
tripped
on
myself
to
a couple times.
phase two, Tirzepatide. I mean,
Yep.
semaglutide is semaglutide. No, Tirzepatide is that available for prescription yet?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Tirzepatide
It's under
now,
Manjaro.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, it's going to be the two agonists, right? It's
Mm.
a GLP-1 as well as a GIP. So that GIP essentially is going to, oh
The
God, I'm
insulin.
trying to remember what this is. So it's activated by the intestinal wall, so like K cells, I think it is, like after you have a meal. So it like encourages the body
The
to
insulin releasing
release more
peptide.
insulin,
Yeah.
yeah, through the beta cells.
Yeah. In the
So it's
pancreas.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like it's just basically taking the hunger aspect of the GLP-1 and then adding a more pronounced effect on the insulin side of things.
Which makes you handle food better.
Yeah, it also
Shuttle it where it needs to be, not fat
yeah,
storage.
it also, promotes lipid storage and lipogenesis.
Hmm.
So it stops that epitopic fat being stored. So it has benefits in that too. But generally, it's a quite similar in the way that say semaglutide operates. It does have a slight improvement over semaglutide, but the
Improvement
real
for weight loss.
yeah, yeah, just because it has that double
And that's
action.
weight loss, not fat loss. That's
That's
weight
correct.
loss.
Yeah. So it's like none of these drugs actually, well, these two drugs in particular don't allow you to lose weight. Triple agonists,
Mm.
when they have that extra glucagon receptor action, do actually increase your metabolic rate. So it's like for semaglutide and tirzepatide, they're not essentially fat loss drugs.
Mm.
They are like weight loss tools,
Yeah.
is what I would
Yeah.
refer to
They
them
they
as.
they they help. They do things to help you lose the fat. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially, I think of it as like this, right? Like the diet is you going to school, and then the GLP-1 is the tutor that you have after school that helps you do the schoolwork.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way that I find to explain to people.
Yeah. You
It's
still got
like
to do the work.
you just got to do like a little bit on top, and
Yeah.
it helps that work quite well, because it's hard to go to school and it's hard to diet, but if you have a tutor, it helps you out. So that's generally the easiest
It
way
is
that I
hard to go
find.
to school because I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, nobody ever is. But yeah, realistically, they're basically the same. It's just going to be improving that insulin sensitivity a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd say it depends on your how much weight you have to lose, which we
Yeah.
they're both going to work for you at that level. It's just how much you have to lose. They're both going to help regardless. Because
Yeah, if you're someone that's heavily overweight, I would probably recommend tirzepatide because you can
mm,
get that through your doctor at the moment. Retatrutide's obviously in its final stages of
mm,
um, clinical trials, and tirzepatide is probably going to be the most effective. You'll just
yeah,
need to use it in a slightly higher dose.
yeah,
Most of these people that are overweight to the point where they will be approved for medical use for GLP-1s through their doctor are probably going to have significant insulin resistance,
yeah,
and they're going to benefit a lot from that. It's
yeah.
like it's going
I'd
to
say one of
allow them
I reckon
carbs.
one of the things GP would ask is if they have diabetes first. Yeah, like there's
Oh,
probably requirements you have to meet before they prescribe it. Some
yeah.
doctors would be more hard to
A
get
lot
it.
of a lot of them now you have to go get your HB1 test.
Yeah, okay.
So checking that long-term insulin
Yeah.
sensitivity. And generally from there they'll be like, hey, look, it is bad. You are also heavily overweight. Let's look at
Mm,
using this. So
yeah. So obviously common reports are strong appetite suppression like semaglutide, less nausea though for most people, more
yeah,
stable energy, more regulated blood sugar, better satiety per calorie. Um, Popular, obviously more popular because like you said, it's working on two fronts, more effective.
yeah.
It's obviously just as easily available. So like you said, why not get that if it's going to work? It's going to even give you 5 to 10% more weight loss. It's going to be more beneficial, obviously. Anything that
Well,
can, you go.
it essentially, like, when you are so significantly overweight and your insulin system isn't working that as effectively as what it should, it is more likely to store that energy that's floating around as fat
Yeah.
rather than shuttling it into the tissue, because when the tissue isn't able to accept carbohydrates as well as what it should because, your pancreas is fucked. You know, improving that ability is going to allow your body to essentially store less body fat. So, whilst your metabolic rate hasn't really changed, the way that your body is using, macronutrients inside of itself has been altered.
Hey, I just want to take a quick second at time out the podcast to introduce Amino's protein. Use code AGHOSTMAN to get your 5% off. Which is why competitors, at a higher level stay leaner in the off seasons to make sure
Yeah.
maximal muscle gain, minimal fat gain. So
Yeah. And that's what,
they're basically doing the same thing, but at a more fatter level, which you're trying to replicate what an athlete does, just at a less athletic body. Obviously, you get a better metabolic environment.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And, those are always more beneficial.
yeah. Um, Downsides and realities you still can have GI effects, still
Yeah.
require, obviously you don't have to, but resistance training would be beneficial and a nutrition coach. Like the more you can do outside the drug to not rely on the drug is always going to benefit you. You should never just to me the drug's a band-aid. Put it on
Yeah.
the cut while the cut's healing, but the healing is you getting the better habits. And then eventually
Yeah.
when you're ready, you can take the band-aid off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're all basically the same essentially. Just the way that they function is slightly different.
Yeah. So Tirzepatide makes fat loss a little bit easier than a sema, but it still doesn't make bad decisions disappear.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. And look, this is one of the biggest things when it comes to these particular medications is people need to understand that medication itself is not allowing you to lose weight. It's the things that you're doing. So if you continue to have the same habits you had from before, you will run into those issues of, the lower bone density and other health issues. And it's like you need to make the choices that align with the goals that you want. If you want to have a healthy body, you need to treat your body in the way that it needs to be treated to be healthy. You need to provide it nutrients. You need to provide it micronutrients. You need to provide it, the correct electrolyte balance. You need to provide it the minerals it needs. You can't just eat less food and suddenly become skinny, which is what we see when Ozempic first jumped on the market was a huge issue, right?
Mm.
Celebrities jumped on board of that and they're like, I can be as skinny as fuck. And they weren't applying, the practices that they should with the combination of that medication.
It's like fad diets, right? Like,
Yeah.
keto, all those ones like, yeah, they might work short term, but nothing is gonna last forever and you're gonna hit a wall at some point because you want sustainability and these drugs aren't sustainable. Like, as soon as you remove them, the sustainability is gone. So it's a
Yeah. If you don't
shaky
have those
foundation. If
habits,
you're relying too much on that, you've got no foundation.
yeah, essentially, if you don't have those habits in place, it's just, you're going to end up back in the same position again.
Yeah. So
And
like
it comes on quick.
semaglutide, behavior matters and coming off will require a plan.
Yeah, of course.
All right, another clap. No, we might even do these in the one anyway because Tirzepatide is obviously pretty short, but Retta, so not clinically approved, but heavily used underground right now. And there's
Yeah, so
we won't even get started on Biotide, the next one, or
that
Omegatide. But
it, it turned out to be fake.
what's that?
It turned out to be fake.
Bio or
Yeah,
Omega?
both of them.
There is one coming out though with a fourth alliteration.
Yeah, they're working on it, but they're like the bioglutide. I've looked into the company because I was so keen for it, and
Oh,
I've spent a bit of time looking into the company more that's developing it, and
yeah,
it's not going to happen.
yeah.
The way
That
that they want to do it, it can't. The body can't work that way.
because what's the fourth one they want to do after?
Like an IGF-1 factor.
Oh, okay, so what bit of muscle retention?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, just to increase that retention of tissue. But the
It's
particular
literally going to be
avenue
like
that I've
in
gone,
30 years, it's like, oh, do you want to do resistance training? Here's a drug for this will give you muscle. Do you want a better nutrition plan? Here's a drug that has all the micronutrients. You literally just take pills eventually.
yeah, well, essentially, all these medications are really just like peptides, right? They're just
Yeah,
strings of amino acids. So it's like once you kind of like reverse engineer processes within the body, you can kind of figure out how things work and what causes those things to
yeah,
happen, and you can basically like have a button that is going to
yeah.
press the receptor that you want, and then you just add that
We,
medication to your body, and it does what it's supposed to.
which people will understand a lot more when we go over GH and GH frags,
Yeah,
peptide strands.